Stop. Put down that bottle of spiced rum right now. Seriously, put it back on the shelf and back away slowly. You are about to make a mistake that your taste buds and your hangover will never forgive you for. Welcome back to Coco Smart Cart. If you're standing in the warehouse right now, staring at that towering wall of liquor, paralyzed by the prices and the sheer volume, you are not alone. Costco's alcohol aisle is legendary. It is a place where dreams of premium cocktails on a budget come true. But it is also a minefield. Here is the crisis. Not all Kirkland Signature bottles are created equal. In fact, the gap between the best and the worst is terrifying. You assume because it has that red and black logo, it's a high-quality dupe of a famous brand, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. One of the bottles on this list is practically undrinkable swill that tastes like chemical runoff. Another is a hidden gem that beats a $50 luxury brand in blind taste tests every single time. Do you know which is which? Today we are ranking the 10 most popular Costco signature liquors from absolute drain-pour worst to stock polite forever best. I'm going to tell you exactly who makes them, what they actually taste like, and which ones are worth your hard-earned cash. If you want to save hundreds of dollars a year on your home bar without drinking lighter fluid, you need to watch this video to the very end. And hey, while you're saving that money, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it tells me you want more insider Costco secrets. Let us get into it. Number 10.
Kirkland Signature Spiced Rum.
I am not going to sugarcoat this. This is, without a doubt, the single most notorious bottle in the entire warehouse. If you see this bottle in someone's cart, you should feel a deep sense of pity for them. The promise here is alluring. It's dirt cheap, usually under $20 for a massive 1.75-liter handle. The bottle looks vaguely like Captain Morgan, and you think, hey, it's just spiced rum and Coke, right? How bad can it be? Oh, it can be bad. It can be very, very bad. The problem isn't just that it's cheap rum, it's the flavoring. Authentic spiced rum should taste like molasses, maybe some real vanilla bean, a hint of cinnamon or nutmeg. This tastes like someone melted down a bag of generic vanilla candles and mixed it with rubbing alcohol. The artificial vanilla note is so overpowering and chemical tasting that it lingers in your mouth like a bad decision. People online have described the flavor profile as cough syrup, burnt plastic, and my personal favorite, bubblegum vodka that gave up on life. There is a semi-famous thread on Reddit where a user described buying this for a party, and even when mixed with Coke, the chemical aftertaste was so strong that nobody could finish a single drink. They ended up pouring the entire jug down the sink, and they claimed the drain smelled like fake vanilla for a week. The solution? If you already bought this, I am so sorry. Do not try to drink it straight. Do not serve it to guests you want to keep as friends. The only way to salvage this is to bake with it. The high alcohol cooks off, and that artificial vanilla becomes somewhat tolerable in a heavy, dense rum cake. Otherwise, cut your losses. If you want a cheap mixer, just buy the name brand on sale. This is not the place to save $5. Number 9. Kirkland Signature Silver Tequila. Coming in at number 9, we have another bottle that proves the Costco magic doesn't touch everything. This is the Silver, or Blanco, tequila. Now, tequila is tricky. It is a spirit that requires care. It comes from the agave plant, which takes years to mature. You can't rush good tequila. But when you taste the silver tequila, it feels rushed. Visually, the bottle is impressive. It's huge, it's heavy, it looks premium. But the liquid inside is confusing. A good Blanco tequila should be crisp, grassy, peppery, with that distinct earthy agave punch. The Kirkland Silver often suffers from being weirdly, unnaturally sweet. It lacks that sharp, vegetal bite that tequila lovers crave. Instead of tasting like agave, it has a sort of flat, sugary quality that many suspect comes from additive syrups or flavorings added after distillation to mask a low-quality spirit. I have a friend who is a huge margarita fan. She bought this thinking she hit the jackpot, a handle of tequila for the price of a small bottle of Patron. She made a batch of margaritas for a barbecue, and everyone kept asking, "Did you use a mix? Why does this taste like candy?" It completely threw off the balance of the cocktail. And the hangover? Let us just say that the more additives and sugars in a tequila, the worse the next morning is going to be. This bottle is a headache waiting to happen. The solution. If you are buying tequila for shots with salt and lime at 2 a.m., maybe this passes. But if you are trying to make a decent margarita or a paloma, skip this. However, don't write off Costco tequila entirely. Stay tuned, because we are going to talk about a different tequila later in this list that is a complete game changer. But the silver? Leave it on the shelf. Number 8. Kirkland Signature American Vodka. Okay, moving up the ladder, we have the American Vodka. Note that I said American Vodka. This is the one in the frosted bottle with the blue label, usually sitting right next to the much taller, clear bottle. This is often compared to Tito's handmade vodka because it's domestic, corn-based, and distilled 6 times. And honestly, it's fine. It's not offensive like the spiced rum. It's just boring. And occasionally inconsistent. Here is the story with this one. It is the workhorse of the college party. It is utility vodka. It doesn't have a distinct flavor, but it also doesn't have that creamy, smooth finish you want in a martini. It has a bit of an ethanol burn on the way down. It reminds you that you are drinking alcohol. There was actually a bit of a scandal recently where Costco had to recall a batch of this because customers were complaining it tasted off, like it had been stored in barrels that previously held rum or something pungent. That kind of inconsistency scares me a little. When you buy a brand name like Tito's or Smirnoff, you know exactly what you are getting every single time. With the Kirkland American, it feels like a bit of a gamble. The solution. This is strictly a mixer. Do not drink this on the rocks. Do not use this for a vodka martini where the spirit has nowhere to hide. Use this for punch bowls, jello shots, or heavy mixers like Bloody Marys where the tomato juice and horseradish will completely mask the spirit. It's cheap, it gets the job done, but it brings no joy to the table. Hey, quick pause. I know this list is intense, and we haven't even hit the good stuff yet. If you are finding this honest breakdown helpful and you want to avoid that buyer's remorse feeling in the liquor aisle, please take a second to like this video. It really helps the channel grow. And I have a question for you. Have you ever bought a bottle solely because it was cheap, only to regret it immediately? Tell me your worst bottle horror story in the comments below. I read all of them. Number 7. Kirkland Signature 4-year Irish Whiskey. Now we are entering the territory of it's okay. The Kirkland Irish Whiskey is a triple distilled blend, aged for 4 years. If you are a fan of Jameson, this is clearly what they are aiming for. It has that characteristic light, grassy, slightly fruity nose that Irish whiskey is known for. But here is the catch. It is very young. 4 years is the minimum requirement for many mass-market whiskeys, but with Irish whiskey, that youth shows up as a thin mouthfeel. When you sip Jameson, there is a certain oiliness, a roundness that coats your mouth. The Kirkland version feels a bit watery. It hits your tongue, delivers a quick burst of alcohol and vague honey sweetness, and then, it vanishes. Or worse, it leaves a slightly bitter metallic finish. I used this to make Irish coffees for a brunch once. And you know what? It was perfect. The coffee, the cream, and the sugar did all the heavy lifting. The whiskey just added the kick. But when my father-in-law, who loves his whiskey neat, tried a glass, he took one sip, put it down, and politely asked for a beer. The solution. This is a high-volume whiskey. If you are hosting a St. Patrick's Day party, and you know you are going to be pouring 50 shots or mixing 100 gingers and whiskeys, buy this. It is unbeatable for the price in that context. But if you want something to sip by the fire on a cold night, spend the extra $10 for the real Jameson, or a bottle of Redbreast. Number 6. Kirkland Signature Small Batch Bourbon. We are officially in the good value zone. Number 6 is the small batch bourbon. Now bourbon people are particular. They are passionate. And for a long time, the rumor mill has churned about who makes this. The general consensus among whiskey sleuths is that it is produced by the Barton 1792 distillery in Kentucky. If you know bourbon, you know Barton makes solid, punchy juice. This bottle is higher proof, usually 103 proof, 51.5% ABV, or sometimes 92 proof depending on the batch release. That higher alcohol content means it holds up really well against ice. It doesn't water down instantly. The flavor profile is classic Kentucky. Caramel, oak, rice spice, and a little bit of a hot finish. It's not complex. It doesn't have those deep, dark cherry or leather notes you get in a $50 bottle. It's young, it's feisty, and it's straightforward. Why isn't it ranked higher? Because it lacks smoothness. It has a jagged edge to it. It's a bit aggressive. If you are a beginner bourbon drinker, you might find it too harsh to drink neat. The solution. This is the ultimate old-fashioned whiskey. Because it has that higher proof and strong oak flavor, it cuts right through the sugar and bitters. It makes a cocktail that tastes strong and assertive. It is also fantastic for cooking bourbon glazed salmon, bourbon barbecue sauce because the flavor is bold enough to survive the heat. Number 5.
Kirkland Signature Blended Scotch Whisky.
This is the massive 1.75-liter plastic bottle. The handle. And it is arguably the best value in the entire store if you just want a simple drink. Let us be clear, this is blended Scotch. It is not single malt. It is a mix of grain whiskies and malt whiskies, likely designed to compete with Dewar's White Label or Johnnie Walker Red. The story here is reliability. It is produced by Alexander Murray Co., an independent bottler who sources whiskey from all over Scotland. They know what they are doing. This Scotch is incredibly inoffensive. And I mean that as a compliment. It is smooth, slightly sweet, with a hint of smoke, just a whisper. It doesn't have the peat bog iodine taste of an Islay Scotch, nor does it have the rich sherry bomb taste of a Macallan. It tastes like Scotch. I keep a bottle of this in my pantry specifically for when I have guests who say, "I'll just have a Scotch and soda." It is crisp, clean, and refreshing with club soda and a lemon twist. You can pour it liberally without wincing at the cost. The solution. Think of this as your house Scotch. It's not for celebrating a promotion. It's for Tuesday night after a long day at work, when you just want a highball. It is utilitarian excellence. Number 4. Kirkland Signature Canadian Whisky. Number 4 might surprise you. Canadian whiskey often gets looked down upon by snobs, but this bottle is a cult favorite for a reason. This is virtually indistinguishable from Crown Royal. The bottle shape is different, obviously, but the liquid inside? It is uncanny. Canadian whiskey is known for being lighter and smoother than American bourbon, often with strong notes of vanilla and maple. And this Kirkland bottle leans heavily into that profile. In fact, some people jokingly call it maple money, because it saves you cash and tastes like the Canadian flag. I did a blind taste test with my husband, who loves Orion ginger. I poured him Crown Royal, and I poured him Kirkland. He actually picked the Kirkland as the smoother one. He said it had less of a burn and more of that brown sugar sweetness. For the price, which is often ridiculously low, sometimes under $20 for the big jug, it is a steal. It is a crowd pleaser. It's soft, it's sweet, and it disappears dangerously fast at parties. The solution. This is your winter warmer. Mix this with hot apple cider, or just drink it with ginger ale. It is so easy to drink that it's almost dangerous. If you like sweet, smooth whiskeys and hate the burn of bourbon or the smoke of Scotch, this is your bottle. Number 3.
Kirkland Signature Anejo Tequila.
Remember when I told you to skip the silver tequila at number 9? Well, redemption has arrived. The Kirkland Signature Anejo Tequila is a completely different animal. Anejo means aged, and by law it must be aged in oak barrels for at least 1 year. That aging process transforms the spirit. It takes those rough, jagged edges of the cheap tequila and smooths them out, adding notes of vanilla, caramel, and spice from the wood. This bottle is a sleeper hit. You see the price, usually around $30 for a liter, sometimes less, and you assume it can't be good. Good Anejo usually starts at $50 or $60. But you pour this into a glass, and it's a beautiful golden amber color. The nose is rich, lots of agave, but also butterscotch and oak. On the palate, it is shockingly smooth. It doesn't have that chemical sugar taste of the silver. It tastes like a legitimate, grown-up sipping tequila. I brought a bottle of this to a dinner party where the host was serving Casamigos Anejo. We compared them. The Casamigos was sweeter, yes, famous for its vanilla additives, but the Kirkland actually tasted more like tequila while still being incredibly smooth. For 1/3 of the price, it was the clear winner. The solution. You can sip this neat. Seriously. Put it in a nice glass, maybe 1 big ice cube, and sip it slowly. It is also the secret weapon for a Cadillac margarita with Grand Marnier. It elevates the cocktail to restaurant quality instantly. Number 2. Kirkland Signature Single Malt Scotch. We are getting into the heavy hitters now. Number 2 is not just one bottle, but a rotating lineup that represents the pinnacle of Costco's liquor sourcing. I am talking about the Kirkland Signature Single Malt Scotch series. You might see different labels depending on the year or the season. Sometimes it's a generic Highland single malt, sometimes it's an Islay single malt, and sometimes it's a sherry cask finish. If you see any of these, buy them immediately. Here is why. Single malt Scotch is expensive. It comes from one distillery, made from 100% malted barley. A decent bottle usually starts at $60, $70, $80. Costco sells these bottles often aged 15, 18, or even 20 years for a fraction of that price. The sourcing here is usually Alexander Murray again, and they get their hands on barrels from top-tier distilleries that don't want to dilute their brand by selling cheap. So they sell the excess whiskey to Costco, who puts a generic label on it. I recently tried the Kirkland Islay Single Malt. If you know Islay Scotch like Laphroaig or Lagavulin, you know it's smoky, peaty, and intense. The Kirkland version was fantastic bonfire smoke, sea salt, brine everything you want, for about $40. It was a $90 experience for a $40 price tag. The solution. This is the gift bottle. If you need a gift for a boss, a father-in-law, or a whiskey lover, this is it. It looks prestigious, it has an age statement usually, and the liquid is genuinely complex and delicious. It shows you have taste but you're also savvy. Number 1. Kirkland Signature French Vodka. Here we are. The king. The legend. The undisputed champion of the Costco liquor aisle. Kirkland Signature French Vodka. You know the bottle. It's the tall, sleek, clear glass one with the red bottom. It looks almost exactly like Grey Goose. And for years, the urban legend has persisted that it is Grey Goose in a different bottle. Let us bust that myth right now. It is not Grey Goose. Grey Goose has denied it. Costco has denied it. They come from different wells. But here is the twist. It doesn't matter. It is made in the same region of France, Cognac region. It uses the same water source types Gensac Springs. It uses the same high-quality winter wheat. It is distilled 5 times. And in almost every blind taste test conducted by experts, YouTube channels, and sommeliers, the Kirkland French vodka beats Grey Goose. It is impossibly smooth. It has a texture that is almost creamy, like slightly melted ice cream. There is zero burn. You can drink this stuff at room temperature and not wince. It has a faint citrusy, floral nose that is elegant and refined. And the price? It is usually around $20 to $25 for the massive 1.75-liter bottle. A bottle of Grey Goose that size would cost you nearly $60 or $70. You are getting a superior product for 1/3 of the price. This is the item that justifies your Costco membership all by itself. It is the smart cart choice defined. The solution? Keep this in your freezer. Always. When it's ice cold, it becomes viscous and thick. Pour it into a chilled martini glass with a twist of lemon. That's it. It's perfection. Or if you want to be the hero of the party, use this for your cocktails. Your guests will think you are using top-shelf luxury vodka, and you'll know you paid bottom-shelf prices. So there you have it. The roadmap to navigating the liquor aisle without getting burned. To recap, avoid the spiced rum and silver tequila like the plague. Use the American vodka and Irish whiskey for big parties. Sip the Anejo tequila and single malt Scotch with pride. And never, ever leave the store without that French vodka. Now, I have a request for you. If you found this ranking helpful, please share this video with that one friend who always brings the worst booze to the potluck. Save them from themselves. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what is the one Costco item, liquor, or food that you think is actually better than the name brand? I'm building a list for my next video, and I want your recommendations. I'm Coco, this is Coco's Smart Cart, and I'll see you in the next aisle.